And we're green. Y'all ready? Sure. Staff ready? All right, I'm going to call to order this January 14th, 2025 meeting of the Kerrville City Council and ask Brenda Hughes to give our invocation and pledge this evening.
Yes, will you stand with me, please? Heavenly Father, in this new year, we give you thanks for the gift of our beautiful city and the opportunity to share this gift with others. We thank you for the bountiful gifts we received that helped our community thrive. We thank you for this meeting and for leading us down the path that brings you glory. We pray for guidance and clear direction that strengthens the bond of our team. We thank you for the gift of those who protect our families and keep us safe. We ask that you cover them with your protection and shield them from harm. And Lord, we thank you for guiding our hearts and minds with your wisdom and granting us peace in the decisions we make for our city. We pray these things in Christ's holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here this evening. We are happy to start a new year. I would bore you with all the stuff that we accomplished last year, but
We want to go home?
we want to go home tonight. Yeah. What I'd like to do is start with announcements of community interest.
Thank you, Mayor, and Happy New Year to everybody. Since this is our first meeting of the new year, we do have 4 things to talk about, and I'll be quick with them. But if you are going to be down by the river tomorrow, and you have no idea how hard it is to say that without doing it in Chris Farley's voice, if you're going to be down by the river tomorrow, be sure and bring a fishing pole, because we're going to have the second of our stocking of 1,200 rainbow trout. They're being brought over once again by the A.E. Woods Fish Hatchery in San Marcos. Last time they got here about 10:45, and there was a lot of people waiting. And this post that we put out on Facebook is close to 600 likes and 117 shares, so we may have a whole town down there tomorrow. But that is tomorrow. Keep that in mind and come on by and go fishing. You do need, if you are over 17, you do need a fishing license. Okay. Kerrville was recently recognized as a Bird City, Texas. There's going to be a little party Friday, January 17th. That's this Friday, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. at the Kerrville Hills Winery. A lot of people put a lot of work into this, and now they're asking you to come by and celebrate with them. So if you get a chance to drop by the Kerrville Hills Winery this Friday from 5 to 7:30 p.m., be sure and do so. Celebrate this event. I'm sorry? Shriner University. I'm sorry, did I say? Yeah, okay. And we are going to have our second comprehensive plan update meeting. That will be January 22nd, which is a Wednesday. That's going to be at the Arcadia Theater, and that's going to start at 6, starts at 6 and goes to 7:30 p.m. These are updates to the 2050 plan that we've been going over, so you can find out the latest on those. This does include the downtown plan and the Nimitz Lake plan and all the latest conversations on that. So we encourage you to drop by and see that too, and make your voice known. And finally, Parks used to have the mother-daughter dance, and actually I think it was the mother-son dance and the father-daughter dance. Well, they've combined them this year, so Someone Special Dance, which includes everybody. Tickets are on sale for that. That's Saturday, February 15th at the Happy State Bank Expo Hall. Tickets need to be ordered in advance, and that event almost always sells out. Actually, I think it has always sold out. So we encourage anybody who wants to go to that to get in touch with Parks and Rec and get a ticket. Keep that on your date, though. And that'll do it for me, but I'll turn it over if y'all have any announcements.
Anybody have an announcement? All right, let's move on to commendation. I'm sorry. Please, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Last council meeting, we talked and we had Blue Santa.
Just to update on that, there was $10,000 that was raised in 3 weeks that was given to Blue Santa. So it's, I think it was pretty well received, Chief. It's, and they said they want to double that next year.
That's amazing.
So,
Congratulations.
they said it was the single largest one-time
Yep.
donation that they've ever received.
That's wonderful. Thank you for all you did for them. Any other announcements? All right, let's do recognition, commendation of recognitions. And these are for people who serve on our boards and commissions. The backbone of city government, of citizen participation in city government. The backbone of city government is the staff, but participation, citizen participation is our boards and commissions. And so it's appropriate when someone has served on a board and commission to say thank you for their service. And I have 4 tonight. I don't know how many people are here, so I'm going to read them out. Marilyn Sismic, come on up, please. Diana Howard, I see. Is Wendy Massey here? No. Is Christine Klima here? We will get those two done. What I'd like to do, if it's okay, is I'll read the resolutions. And then if you wouldn't mind telling everyone what you got out of serving on a commission. That's out there? All right, let me read it quickly. Marilyn Sismic has been a member of the Senior Services Advisory Committee starting from September 30th, 2020. And now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Kerrville, Kirk County, Texas, that Marilyn be recognized for outstanding service as a member of the Senior Services Advisory Committee, and that on behalf of the citizens of Kerrville, as well as for ourselves individually, we wish to express our sincere appreciation for your contributions to our city and community. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Diana. Similar wording, a different committee. She has served as a member of the Main Street Advisory Board starting in August of 2020. And similarly, we thank you for your contributions to our community. In a minute, we're going to want a picture, but before that, could you tell us what you got out of serving on that committee?
Right. Even though I had moved here in '76, I learned a lot of things in the few years that I was on this committee that I didn't know about the Kerrville. And the senior needs actually was what the emphasis was. The committee made suggestions to the council.
Mm-hmm.
And most always they were, and Kim was our intermediary between, and so it was nice to know that our suggestions, and she would always help. That'll work, maybe it won't, we'll take it and see. So a lot of things were done that I didn't even think about, like giving fans away when it was cool, and then the Kirk, I wasn't involved in all those years. I chose not to be any kind of a member. It's easier for me to make ideas. That's my strength. And so I sat back and would listen and give ideas.
Good.
I liked it.
Thank you. Diana?
I did Main Street Advisory Board, and mainly I got to work with a lot of people in here, and it was so much that I learned about what went on around the city and what made things happen.
Good.
So it was a lot of fun.
Good.
I enjoyed it.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, let's give him a round of applause.
One more. Thank you.
It takes two to make it in case my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a presentation, aren't we?
Yes.
All right, thanks again for serving our community. Thank you. All right, we have an update from a little outfit called Kerrville Pets Alive. Who's gonna make that presentation? Good. I saw
A sea of orange.
a sea of orange.
Let's see that. Good evening. Can y'all hear me?
A little
Okay,
closer.
well, is that better? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name's Karen Guerrero. I am currently the president of Kerrville Pets Alive. We're going into our 6th year, and I'm joined by some of our wonderful volunteers, both four-legged and two-legged. We had some that are a little rambunctious that went out, but it's always a good icebreaker for them to come along, and board members, volunteers, and we just want to thank you for allowing us to make this presentation. We're here to tell you how we utilize the $6,000 that we were granted from the city for pet wellness services. This is the 2nd year that you have granted us those funds, and we're, again, very appreciative of the partnership. As a board, we decided the most important thing to do with those funds was to offer affordable and accessible pet wellness services for our community. A lot of people, as you know, are struggling just personally, and we felt like that the best thing to do was offer these services. Vets are needed all across the country. It's hard to access affordable vet care, so we felt like that it would support residents in need, and it would help people keep their companion pets. We have so many people that have pets, and that's their only companion, and it keeps their pets home and safe, so we feel like that helps them out. It also would promote a healthy pet population by getting animals spayed and neutered and vaccinated. With that, we decided to do SNP and CHIP clinics, which are spay and neuter clinics for low-cost, low-income Kerr County residents. That included exam, spay-neuter surgery, vaccines, microchips, and flea medications. And on occasion, our wonderful vets take the time to learn a little bit more about the pet, and they might do some extra things to help, like nail clips and things like that. We had 6 SNP and CHIP clinics. The cost was $50 for dogs and $25 for cats. If any of you have pets, you know that's a great savings. It's much more expensive than that normally. We serviced 194 Kerr County pets by spay and neuter. 173 of those animals got microchips, which is permanent identification, which is also registered with the Kerr County Animal Services. 162 of those pets were vaccinated, and 126 pets from that group were Kerrville residents. We actually separated so we can show you that they're Kerrville residents. And the Kerrville residents are the ones that usually, the majority that take advantage of these clinics. I wanted to point out too, on that last slide, you don't have to go back, that we partnered with Town and Country Animal Hospital for those clinics. And we learned the last time that you granted us the money, we partnered with an organization that was out of this area. We did a large spay-neuter clinic over 3 days, 200 pets. And we kind of learned that we wanted to keep the money local. We rescue local, we want to keep the money local. And so we partnered with and nourished that relationship with Town and Country Animal Hospital for that. We also did vaccine clinics for low-cost, low-income residents. Did exams, rabies vaccines, antiviral vaccines, microchips, flea meds, and nail clips as well. We did 3 of those. They were $10 for cats and $15 for dogs. Again, if you have pets, great savings, making it affordable for people that are a little bit challenged. 175 Kerr County pets were vaccinated and 83 microchipped. 132 of those pets were from Kerrville that were vaccinated, and 59 Kerrville pets were microchipped. We also, again, used Town and Country Animal Hospital, keeping the money local, and also Vet Connection, which is a mobile vet that's wonderful, that is local, that provided those services at our Safe House location next to Schreiner University. Another great thing is we're very much into partnerships. So Petco Love is another one of our partners, and they help us out with granting vaccines. That helps us out a lot. So overall, at first we just thought when we started doing these clinics, we were just providing pet services. But we've learned that we really are providing quality of life for Kerrville residents through health. These clinics support a healthy pet population. The more animals we get spayed and neutered and vaccinated, the less pet breeding we have and pets running around that aren't healthy. Safety, I think we don't want to be another, I hate to compare us to San Antonio, but we have a lot of stray animals out there that aren't vaccinated that really puts the public at risk. In education, by having these clinics, we've learned that we can spend a little bit of time, the veterinarians spend time with the pet owners, and can provide some humane education and community investment. We work with, all of our rescues are from Kirk County. We work with local veterinarians, like I said, to keep the money in Kerrville. I like to say we stimulate the economy a little bit. It's probably not a drop in the bucket, but it's thousands and thousands of dollars annually. And volunteerism. We're an all-volunteer organization, and we have some of our volunteers here. They work tirelessly for this organization, and it's a really great role. I think our organization is a good role model for volunteering, and so we really try to utilize volunteers. So with that said, it's a huge, big thank you. Here's some of our satisfied customers. That's a few of many that received services. So we appreciate the partnership. We hope that we can grow together again, and we will help promote quality of life, and hope that we can at some point get a little bit more funding if available. Does anyone have any questions?
Anybody have a question? Any comments? No?
Good job.
Well, lastly, I just wanted to say that we had to make a report in October on paper. That was kind of before we tabulated our numbers. So the first report that I presented to you was a little bit lower in the numbers. And someone asked me the other day, why do we need to go in front of City Council to report on $6,000? Like it's a small number, but to us, it's huge. I mean, it pays for more than a spay and neuter clinic, and think that $6,000, so many pets were affected and so many pet owners were helped. So we really appreciate it. And $52,000 too, that's pretty much how much was saved by residents that got these services. So thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and thank you for all your volunteers that are here today. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks.
All right, our next item is Visitors and Citizens Forum. Kelly, do we have anyone to speak?
Yes, sir, we have 3. Brent Bates,
Mr. Bates?
Okay, get this thing up. Brent Bates, 434 Forest Ridge. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the gentleman that's been suing the city of Kerrville in federal court for the last 3 years. And I came since I think Lewis has been really good at this, since I've had a bunch of slanderous newspaper printings and such about me. I thought I'd come and announce that myself, that I have abandoned the appeal of the judge's ruling. Partly because in that appeal, the judge found as fact that I do have and still possess the permit from 2018, which is an unrestricted permit with no required fire protection. And I'll be filing to go ahead and get back to work on that front. What I did want to do, though, is also bring before you all have been presented by me a global settlement offer, because in the federal court case, I personally could not sue. The LLC that I'm the owner of was the plaintiff, and therefore I could not personally sue for other things that had happened. During the discovery over the last 3 years, every point that I put in my lawsuit has been proven 100% factual. My permit was altered. There was all kinds of things done that were outside the 9 dots. What I would like to do is go back to work. I've been one of the more prolific developers in town. Many of you all know that I started the Riverwalk 5 years before the city started their version of it. Many of you may know that I finished the pavilion with my own sweat and brow when the city wouldn't come up with 1 penny to finish it, when the people that started it ran out of money. So for 33 years, I've been doing things around here. And for 33 years, I've been dealing with a development services office that has had many problems. In 2009, I did an appeal that resulted in the firing of Paul Hoffman, who was the city manager at that time. My lawsuit, in my belief, has chased off McDaniels, E.A. Hoppy, because as those suits came forward, they decided it was probably something they didn't want on their resume. And so, you know, I'm tired of fighting you all. I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. Well, you all probably don't listen to me because I doubt that y'all really know a whole lot about what all of it went on. But I have a visual aid for us.
You also have about 1 minute left.
Yeah, I'm watching the time. This right here is a commercial extension cord. I had running a security camera in the office. Well, the building official comes along and says, no, you have electrified that building. That is a service lead. That's a code violation. And for those of us that are generational Kerrvillians, we know that the city loves to use code violation against those that they consider political opponents. So I get written a ticket for this. And of course, because of COVID, I can't get to court. And finally, the municipal court found me guilty of this, of an electrical violation, even though the master electrician said that, no, I didn't do anything. But the building official, who, by the way, never had a license, could you imagine if Sid Peterson lets people operate without a license? That's kind of pretty bad stuff. Oh, no, I walked by and I could tell. Well, let me tell you what he couldn't tell. This right here is the amount of wires necessary to electrify that building.
30 seconds, Mr. Bates.
All right? So he walks by and he considers this the sum total of this. And that's what a lot of us out there have to deal with out of development services, and it's a chronic problem that you guys have got to solve. I got ideas for you how to solve it, but you have got to solve it because it is hurting so many citizens. Think of the poor guy that's been trying to open up the steakhouse, and I can tell you what his problem is. Problem. Thank
All right,
you for your time.
of course.
Katie Capel?
Ms. Kaplan.
I came down to invite you all to the party on Friday, but you already know about that anyway.
But
I
thank you
wanted
for
to
the
give a little
invitation.
background.
Thank you for the invitation.
You gave us a resolution back in May of support, and a group of different groups, mostly nonprofits around town, have been working on this for 2 years, actually. And remarkably, we achieved certification on our first application. And I think that's a tribute to the coalition members. There's about 25, and we keep recruiting new more. We've added the 4-H recently, or out building a pollinator garden. But I wanted to point out that this was volunteers. Many of the environmentally active people in town are both Native Plant Society members, Hill Country Master Naturalists, or they volunteer for the UGRA, or they lead bird walks. I mean, Wild Birds Unlimited leads bird walks as well as a nature center. Kerrville Shriner has been doing a lot of stuff to encourage birds, and that's one of the reasons we're at that winery, because it's right there, and we figured we could use it. The Friends of the Night Sky, the Master Gardeners are involved. The Convention and Visitors Bureau has a website which is designed to help birders find the good places in Kerrville. And when the Texas Audubon finally gets around to fielding their official announcement, there will be some statewide and nationwide publicity of Kerrville as a bird city and a destination for birders.
Nice.
I don't know how in the world we'd ever keep track of what kind of income that brings in, but it would be good. So we'll continue next year. The program goes on for 2 years. We're hoping that we can plant some more plants in the parks. The first bird blind is going up this month, funded by, believe it or not, the Callow Foundation. And we have enough money to build some more. We got donations from Community Foundation of Dallas. I have no idea why, but we did. Bear Audubon, the Texas Ornithological Society has kicked in money for us to do things. So hopefully, any day now, the Parks Department is going to dig the post holes for the bird blind at Trailhead 2 in the Kerrville Shriner Park, and we think we can get it built in a day if we can get everything together at one time.
Nice.
So I hope that y'all can come out Friday night, and we're not having any speeches or any program. We're just going to have a good time. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I plan on being there.
Ellie?
George Baruti.
Mr. Baruti.
George Baruti, 1616 Glen Road, and of course, this will be time number 1 for this year, right? Isn't that right, sir? Stuff you gotta deal with in this town, I'm telling you. It'd be nice if they just reported what you said instead of, anyway, whatever. So, what we're talking about, what you got in front of you, if you mind taking the time to look at it a little bit, is a list of the Lennar homes that have been sold in the first phase of whatever's going on over there. And as the workshop before, I couldn't attend because I actually have a job. They were discussing this and describing what was supposed to be happening. Mr. McKinney, I think, is the one who asked, so they're being compliant. Well, to be compliant in this contract, they had 3 things they had to do. One was build a certain number of houses, which I think that's probably going to be met, no big deal. The other was each house had to be sold underneath the maximum sale price listed in the contract. The other was that they had to be affordable to the rate stipulated or defined by TDHCA. It's referenced in the contract as well. In most of these, let's just look at the sale price part. What goes into a sale price? Whatever they paid cash down plus whatever amount they financed. You add those 2 together, and that's what they paid for the house. No matter what any developer wants to tell you the sale price was, that's what it is. What we know for most of these homes, I think it's around 50-something of them, is how much they borrowed. So we know that they financed whatever it shows in the mortgage amount. And if you look at that column alone, there are 24, I believe it's 24, that borrowed more than $275,000. How you can say that's underneath a sale price of $275 is beyond me. The other is, and if you could, I think it's about the 8th or 9th one, lot number 8, block 2. That person borrowed $323,000. That's in the loan documents, $323,000. We're crediting Lennar as if the house was sold for $264,000. They did not give discounts on the sale price because they are requiring that person to pay a note $323,000. If they pay it off early, they're going to pay principal amount $323,000. Again, sale price is not below $275,000. The other aspect of the contract is affordability. And again, it's not my numbers, it's defined by the contract referencing TDHCA. The amount of housing costs that they can have in a month is give or take $2,000. If you see on the following, in the rightmost column, actual cost burden, anybody above 30% is actually paying more for their housing costs than defined in the contract. And if you look at that, there's give or take 35 or so of those. So there's a problem with the current contract. The only solution is what's defined in the contract. The facts of the contract, as they are defined, is that Lennar is required to buy back the land that we donated to them. If somebody has a way to explain to me how borrowing more, how in the world could they borrow more? The reason there's 2 prongs, is there 20 seconds or 2 minutes and 20 seconds?
20 seconds.
Okay, well, bottom line is, it's 2 prongs because if you didn't focus on the sale price and affordability, then you could actually sell a house way high and, way low and have a high interest rate. But anyway.
Thank you, Ms. Brody.
That is the end of the citizen speakers.
Right.
I have a real job, by the way.
Have you a job?
I have a job. Just for the record. I have a job.
I have a job.
I'm I'm sorry, Mayor. This-
We have the consent agenda before us. Items are considered routine and can be approved in one motion unless a council member, staff, or member of the public asks for separate consideration. I'm going to ask that item 4A be removed from the consent agenda. Are there any other items to remove? If not, do I have a motion on 4B and 4C?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items number 4B and 4C.
Second?
Motion is second. All in favor? So vote. Passes unanimously. The reason I pulled 4A is I thought that the reason or the story why the police department would like a motorcycle would be best told by the chief. And I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Yes, sir. Mayor, council, thank you for the opportunity. While the item says it's around $53,000 grant, accepting that money from the Office of the Governor, I also think it's important for me to be able to explain to you how we came to this day today, reviewing this grant and deciding whether or not we want to accept the funds for this motorcycle. And to explain that, I have to take you back about 2 years ago into 2023. We recognized that we were having some traffic-related issues in our community. And we conducted a traffic analysis for the previous 5 years, so from 2018 to 2023, to get an idea of where we were trending and what issues we were seeing in traffic crash-related incidents. And I'll also, you see a graphic on the screen there, and as you look at that from 2019 up to 2023, you see almost 100 crash increase over that time frame in those years. One thing to keep in mind, this is a number that's derived from the number of state reports we complete on traffic crashes. Not every traffic crash requires a state report be completed. So the actual number of crashes in our community are actually higher than the number we see here, but these are the ones that we report out to TxDOT through our traffic reporting, crash reporting system. You see we went from 487 crashes in 2019 up to 583 crashes in 2023. We're still tabulating 2024's information data currently. It looked like going into December, we were probably going to be tracking well above 500, right around the 500 mark for reportable crashes to TxDOT. So it's definitely something that we want to make an impact on. Traffic safety, this leads not only to the property damage, but also to injuries and sometimes fatalities. And that was one of the things in 2023 that concerned us was the number of fatalities we had had in that previous year and what we could do to try to affect that. And through our study, we saw that driver inattention and speed were two of our top contributing factors in our community for crashes. And we looked at the speed crashes as compared to non-injury or minor injury accidents. Speed crashes had a higher instance of injury to persons involved. So we know those are two of the things that we wanted to focus on as we looked for solutions to some of our traffic concerns. One of those things became our traffic unit and adding a motorcycle to that fleet and being able to address traffic-related incidents in a different manner. I guess I would ask, one of the things that we look at is for the benefits of a motor unit would be improved traffic enforcement opportunities. And I guess I would ask in the last 30 days, how many people have seen somebody drive through a red light in Kerrville, right? In the last week, how many, and I'm no different. And one of those things is when I'm sitting at a traffic light as a police officer in a police vehicle, I'd like to be able to go and stop that car. But if I'm sitting 3 deep and I've got traffic on both sides of me, there's no hope for me to be able to get out without creating much more danger to the public to go try to stop that car. So unless it's a very egregious violation, you likely won't see a police officer in a police car try to move through traffic to go get that violator who just zipped through the tail end of that green light turning red, unless it was almost an accident-causing issue. That makes it difficult for us in a police vehicle. The benefits of a police motorcycle are they're able to move through traffic much more easily. I'm sure everybody's driven in the downtown area or over near the school between the hours of 7:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning, or at noon, or in the afternoon as school lets out and people start leaving from work. And you see the traffic congestion grow dramatically on Sidney Baker, basically from Bandera Highway up to Holdsworth, and traffic starts stacking, and the ability for us to move through that traffic becomes more difficult. That's another benefit of having a police motorcycle, would be to improve our response to traffic crashes and be able to access them quicker and more safely. The quicker we can arrive at a traffic crash and clear that scene, the less likely we are to have secondary traffic crashes at those intersections, which is always a concern when you have traffic disruption. Just general maneuverability during emergencies. It gives us the opportunity to move in locations that we may not be able to move in a police vehicle. We have a river trail, a rather lengthy river trail, and it's very difficult for us to access that river trail by vehicle. I've personally responded and tried to help with some emergency situations down there, and you end up parking at a trailhead and getting out and walking until you find where the location is of the emergency. And that takes minutes, and sometimes in those situations, we don't have minutes. We really do have seconds for someone's life. This would definitely be able to put our resources on scene much quicker. They're also ideal for escort duties. Again, the ability to move in and around through traffic. Diversification of assignments. One of the things that we've been working on within the police department as part of our retention program is to give our officers the ability to find different assignments without having to promote. In the past, really the movement in the department occurred through promotion. Other than that, you're a patrol officer, you answered calls, you took reports, you did those things. The investigations was really your only other pathway in the agency. We've been working hard to try to diversify our assignments, give our officers the ability to have some selection on what pathways they want to follow. I can tell you in my past police life, I've had motor units, and you get those guys that get involved in those units, and they stay. They want to stay in them for their career. They enjoy them that much. They've become very effective in that role. Really it ends up benefiting the agency as a retention tool for the folks that end up in those assignments or have the ability to get into those assignments in the future. Very cost effective, everything from fuel to maintenance, all of those things are much less than a vehicle. Tremendous community relations tool, not just in parades, special events, but just the visibility and the ability to have contact and communication with people without a vehicle being around you, without having to get out of a car to contact someone or roll down a window to grab someone's attention. Very easy to communicate off the back of a motorcycle. And oftentimes that helps improve not only just the visibility, but the approachability of the officer as well. Anytime they're stopped at lights in parking lots, people feel more apt to interact with that officer who is literally just feet away from them. Safety is a huge concern as we talk about a motor unit. The risks definitely increase on a motorcycle. I've been very fortunate. I've not had an officer injured in a motorcycle crash seriously during the time that I've been an administrator in police departments. My assistant chief has been an administrator in police departments as well for a number of years. He's been very lucky. Both of us see the benefits to deploying the motorcycles, but we also recognize the safety piece, and safety comes through multi-pronged approach. That's the equipment that we provide the officers, everything from their uniform, the boots, the gloves, the helmet, the headset that's integrated into the helmet, All of those things are meant to protect them in some way or give them a more safe ability to operate the motorcycle and pay attention to the road and what's going on around them. Training. Training is a huge piece of what you have to do with a motor unit. It's a very intensive certification course to become a motor officer, to be certified to ride a motorcycle. In fact, I'd like to point out that picture there. As you look at that, you just think, oh, there's a police officer riding through some cones, maybe doing some practice. You know, as a not me, I'm not a trained motor officer, but a trained motor officer would look at that picture differently. He would look at that and go, oh yeah, okay, he's using 4 fingers on the clutch to help with that. He's using front brakes to dip the front as he positions his body over the top and utilizes proper body balance as he's steering that motorcycle. There are a lot of things that go on in that class that are well advanced of just someone getting on a motorcycle and going and riding. And that's what we want to ensure. We want to ensure that our folks are the best trained that they can be to be as safe as they can be out on the streets. Another way to help maintain safety is through policy. And policies that we would include would outline the use of the motorcycle, how it's used, when it's used, and set limitations and accountability for those things. Mandatory training. Part of your policy becomes mandatory training to help ensure the safety and ensure the officer is the best equipped they can be physically to be able to handle that motorcycle in emergency situations. As well as just something as simple as setting the limitations. I had officers that were assigned to motor units. They did not want to come off of those motors even when it was freezing outside. As earlier in the week, we would literally have to set policy and say, when it hits this temperature, you come off that motorcycle and you go inside. If we see weather conditions deteriorate, we bring them off those motorcycles, we bring them into a unit. So there are opportunities in policy to set safety standards that help prevent some of the liability that comes along with, or the high risk that comes along with the motorcycle. Personnel selection is another important piece. You always want to make sure you have the right person for an assignment, and this is no different. You want to find somebody that is comfortable on a motorcycle, somebody who has the personality to be out on a motorcycle interacting with people. That was in the past, that's been some of our biggest accomplishments, was ensuring we had the right personnel out there and to really utilize those as a community relations tool to be able to get those people involved and working with community groups. Our goals obviously are to reduce the number of traffic crashes, as we saw. That's one of the things that we're going to be working on as an organization. And not just the number of traffic crashes, but also the severity of those crashes and the number of injuries that we see in those crashes by trying to slow traffic down, improve driver attention. Right now, as we saw earlier, everybody raised their hand. Somebody saw somebody run a red light in the last 30 days. Whenever we start those enforcement efforts, the NTSA says anytime that you have a motorcycle out there enforcing speed and driver inattention, it reduces your number of serious traffic accidents involving injury and fatality. Those are definitely goals that we would like to accomplish. It's also a building block for a dedicated traffic unit. We would like to eventually build a traffic unit. That does not mean a unit of motorcycles. That means a unit of folks who are dedicated to traffic safety and to traffic enforcement that can work alongside not only our patrol officers, but also with other partners in the community, whether that be our street department or TxDOT engineers, to ensure that we're passing information when we see issues arising in the community based on new traffic patterns, new businesses open, changes of traffic pattern. We want to have somebody that we can put out there and address issues and then be able to give feedback that says, okay, this is what we're seeing and this is why we're having that problem there, so we can interact with the right partners and get the right solutions beyond just the enforcement piece. The lateral assignment opportunity, we talked about that earlier, just giving our officers another opportunity to step into something new and have other goals for them down the road. and to have a positive impact on community relations and really ensure that we have the right people out there interacting and being able to be a part of community events or just on a day-to-day basis, be that approachable person that you can come to and visit with. And really overall, just improve the traffic safety in our community. That's our biggest goal, is to really reduce those number of traffic crashes and the injuries that go along with those. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Chief?
Oh, you answered, one of mine was training, so you answered that. I figured you did.
Is there any training involved in dodging deer on a motorcycle?
Dodging deer? I wish we had dodging deer training for all of our vehicles.
Is this for a second motorcycle?
No,
Don't you have
this-
a grant from ACOG?
I'm sorry?
Y'all have a grant from ACOG?
No, this is that grant. This
That's the
grant
grant.
starts at ACOG and ends up with the Office of the Governor. So ACOG administers the initial screening of applicants, and then they forward the finalists on to the Office of the Governor for consideration of award. So we've gone through, I believe, 3 different reviews on this grant to get to the award point.
Chief, I want to tell you, and I'm sorry, I am pro-police. I hope you know that.
Sure.
But I'm anti-motorcycle.
Sure, no,
And
I understand.
The reason, Vincente Ortiz, does that name ring a bell? Corpus Christi motor officer of 15 years that got killed in the summer
Right.
because somebody wasn't paying attention. Councilmember Hughes said it, deer. Do we see him run traffic lights? Yeah, all the time. At what point, though, does an officer put his life or her life, if they start cutting through traffic to go get a violator that just ran a red light? Is that safe? Escorts, and I'm not trying to bring down your parade, but I'm just thinking officer safety, because we don't want one of our valuable assets to get hurt on a motorcycle. Escorts, I'd rather see your Tahoe going down the turn lane on Sidney Baker giving an escort, passing traffic, than a motorcycle when you see somebody run a red light, like happened to a friend of mine, and that's one of the reasons I don't like motorcycles. Guy ran a red light, hit him and killed him right there on the spot. And it's just, I'd rather see one of your guys or gals in a Tahoe with all that metal around them so they're safe. Because on a motorcycle, there's not a whole lot around them.
Right.
And Lord forbid if they ever get in a situation where they got to use their service weapon, there's not a whole lot of room to get behind the motorcycle and hide, or take cover, so to say, not to hide. So I'm not against it, I'm just not for it, if that makes sense.
No, I understand it, and those are all very valid points. Those are things that we take into consideration, and that's why we look at the personnel selection. That's why we look at the policies. That's why we look at I'm sorry.
Would 2-man units be safer if you ran two motor units together?
So normally the most effective is running them with 2 motorcycles. This is kind of our phase 1. We would like to then bring in a secondary motorcycle down the road because that creates a program, or a unit. This is just a resource and a tool currently. What we envision down the road is going back to a 5-man traffic unit, 2 of those being motors and 3 of those being in vehicles. One of those being assigned in the evening hours for DWI enforcement. So we have a layout and a plan forward of where we would like to head. This is dictated kind of by budget and what we can afford and where we can head.
I'm sorry, you said a DWI enforcement night, you're not talking about a motorcycle at night?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. I was
No,
gonna say, deer.
No, part of our traffic analysis showed our biggest crash issues literally are Monday through Friday, and hours of 8 to 5 in the afternoon. In fact, speeding was between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon was the top hours that we saw that driver inattention was 11 to 12 o'clock. Kind of the predictable times that you would think heavy traffic and folks not paying attention, and that's where we would be focusing our efforts with the motor units.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's interesting, so your first year, first to second year was a pretty big drop, and it really is up 150 from the,
Yeah.
3 years ago. So, and you mentioned about the speeding being such a big problem, it seems like, these days, and maybe a result of, COVID, that when maybe, it seemed like I read where, people weren't getting stopped. I'm not picking on Kerrville Police Department. I mean, I think that was kind of generally people, and I think maybe the habits got really bad or something. So maybe certainly need some enforcement, because I drive.
Yeah, it's
you're driving,
enforcement.
it seems, especially, on the interstate, it seems like people are just going, just, and without regard at all to the speed limit, and, so there's been some bad habits, I think, maybe.
Right. And you pointed out 2020, and I should have mentioned that, that 2020 is an asterisk when you talk about any kind of statistical data. It's an anomaly, not really in line with other years, so, yeah.
Any other questions for the chief? I know this is a motion to accept a grant. I guess the next step will be purchasing the vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And after it's purchased and kitted out, the next step would be to come show it off to the Kerrville City Council.
Yes, sir.
We'd like to see it.
So can I move to approve?
I hope you will.
I would like to approve resolution number 03-2025, authorizing the acceptance of funding through the Office of the Governor from the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program to be utilized to purchase a fully equipped police motorcycle.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor, so vote. Opposed? Passes 4-1. Thank you, Chief.
Just my personal feelings, I'm sorry.
Of course. Now we're moving on to ordinances. Item 5A, would you like to read that in?
Ordinance number 2025-01, an ordinance amending Chapter 46 Environment of the city's Code of Ordinances by adding a new Article 2, Tree Preservation, which adopts regulations for the preservation of trees, providing for penalties not to exceed $2,000, ordering publication, providing an effective date, and providing other matters related to the subject. There are no citizen speakers signed up.
Mr. Paxton?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the tree preservation ordinance that we discussed during the workshop. And Councilmember Hughes had a question about adding an exemption to that. Spoke with Mr. Hayes between the meetings. We could certainly add that between first and second reading. Would be no issue. Be pleased to answer any questions, or I can go through the presentation if you'd like.
Ms. Hughes, why don't you state
Okay,
specifically your recommendation?
my recommendation would be to exempt unplatted lots that are an acre or less, because those are traditionally residential home sites. And I think a homeowner should be able to develop his property as he sees fit. So if we could exclude the lots that are 1 acre or less, then I would feel a lot better about the ordinance.
I'm assuming we have consensus on that?
Yes. The only thing, I'm constantly thinking about a commercial piece that's less than an acre that could be replatted and would be exempt then if you did that. So I'm.
If it was replatted, I'm not sure it would be, would it?
Right. And a commercial lot less than an acre these days is pretty rare. Most of our lots, I guess maybe some of the small drive-through coffee shops might be right around an acre. So I don't know that we'd miss that many commercial developments that are a single or less than 1 acre lot.
Okay. As long as this one I'm thinking about doesn't get touched, I'll be fine.
All right. For those in the audience that were not at the workshop, we had extensive discussion about this item. I would welcome any discussion from council at this time. If not,
Well, I do have a suggestion. I'm just now reading it. I apologize, Dr. Rector, but I'm just now seeing your message. And if you'll allow me, I'd like to relay what you've conveyed to me here. And Dr. Rector's suggestion would be that if a property is replatted, it generally means that it is a large piece of property, okay? And is going to be developed into smaller lots. Okay, and then he talks about that it loses its grandfather status. So what I'm assuming you're saying there is that this thing's been platted, and say it then sells, that it lose its grandfather status for that original plat, and it fall under the new ordinance. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, can you?
I apologize. Not if it sells, but if it is replatted.
Okay.
If the owner decides to divide that lot, which requires replatting,
Okay,
then it would lose its status as being protected as a platted piece of property.
okay.
And the example
That
that
kind
I
of makes
gave
sense too.
was the property at Jackson Road and Harper Road. the
Okay.
Parker property, which has been divided into 3 parcels now. And homes are being built on one segment of it, and the area along Harper Road is going to be commercially developed. So
Okay.
it was originally a homestead. It was divided by its owner into 3 separate pieces of property.
Okay. Can you address that, Dalton?
Yes, excuse me. Yeah, so on the replat side, there's kind of this caveat or disclaimer in here. And we didn't want to dive into Pandora's box on the replats because really the simple thing is based off the ordinance as it's written, if they're going to go replat, then all they're going to do is just wipe out whatever they're going to wipe out prior to them replatting and then go and replat. So you're kind of creating a solution in search of a problem versus addressing a problem. While we don't disagree that that could be an issue, and it still may be, and something that council could address at a later time to an amendment, but the loophole is they're just going to do all the dirt work, all the grading, all the things that they need to do because under the ordinance, they can do that on a platted lot. Then they're going to go and replat after the work is already done, which then is a moot point. So I think it could be something we can definitely address, or if we start seeing a problem with that, we can definitely address it. But I think that kind of is trying to create this perfect thing where you're starting to now create loopholes within it. But that's just some of our assessment that we've seen on it.
thank you. What I think we have from the workshop is consent to pass on first reading with some changes as you have indicated. Does that still feel like we have consent to do something like that? If so, I would entertain a motion.
So I would just say that I'm kind of out of sync with that a little bit.
I understand.
I'm very much in favor of trees. I love trees. I planted 10 trees on my lot that didn't have any when I built. I just think we got through 140, 50 years of Kerrville, and we got lots of trees, and we're in good shape without having an ordinance. And whether we need government to tell us what we can do with our trees and not with our trees is kind of a question. So it's it's property rights issue. I think we might get this, and we've been round and round and round about it, and it's a very delicate thing to balance the property rights with the protecting trees. But people love their trees, and when they get torn down, the plants basically through town they've been replanted, and there's been without government dictates. So if we really had a more serious problem, and sure, we've lost a few trees that maybe haven't been replaced, but you can't drive around town and feel like you're seeing you know, a real problem exists.
I respect that.
Yeah, so, I think there could be some improvements, and we've talked about those, but for now, I'm not in favor.
I understand.
Okay.
Is there a motion then to approve on first reading with the proposed changes as mentioned by Councilmember Hughes? Do we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2025-01 on first reading, including the comments made by Councilmember Hughes and her edited version of unplatted lots, an acre or less.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion or more discussion? All right, all in favor, so vote. Against? It passes 4-1. We'll see this again on our next agenda. Please provide that document as early as we can have it so we can read it one more time. Thank you, Dr. Beck. Item 5B. Shelley, would you care to read that in?
Ordinance number 2025-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 94, Taxation, Article 3, Occupancy of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kerrville, Texas, by amending various sections relating to the imposition of a hotel occupancy tax, by revising the definition of consideration to clarify what costs are subject to the tax, and to clarify the process for reports and audits, containing a cumulative clause, containing a savings and severability clause, ordering publication and providing other matters relating to the subject. There are no citizen speakers signed up.
Thank you. Ms. Roberts.
Good evening, Mayor and
Make sure
Council.
I said that right.
Sorry. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
I'm sorry.
Today,
Pronounce your name correctly. Bogush?
yes, sir.
Okay, good. That's all I was trying.
My name is Jacob Bogush. I'm the Finance Compliance Coordinator with the City of Kerrville. So tonight I will be discussing Ordinance 2025-02, the proposed amendment to Chapter 94 of the city's Code of Ordinances. So jumping straight into things, oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, jumping straight into things, the purpose of this amendment is to provide clarity to hoteliers and short-term rentals to define what is considered taxable on fees and cost. During our last round of audits of hotel occupancy tax, short-term rentals provided some feedback that basically had mentioned this ordinance and said that maybe adding some clarification would help. And that's essentially what we're doing here. So this amendment helps to aim to enhance compliance and consistency. That's about it. I'm here if y'all have any questions.
All right, any questions for Jacob? Did you have any input from the short-term rental community?
None besides the ones that we had audited last go-round. That's about it.
Okay. Any comments or questions for Mr. Bogush?
No, it's pretty clear. I mean,
All right, well, I will
read it.
entertain a motion on ordinance 2025-02.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-02 on first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, so vote. Passes unanimously. All right. Item 6A, do we need to read in resolutions or not? Have we determined? The answer is no to read in resolutions. Mr. Hornes.
Yes, sir. This is the first of two resolutions. These are additions to and taking the place of resolutions from last year. The owners of these now three apartments, the Meadows, the Oaks, and now Paseo de Paz, which is the one that they've added, are requesting permission to apply through TDHCA for the tranche of funds for the tax credit program. This will enable them to place the roof, provide updated amenities, cabinetry, stoves, updated playscapes, things like that. And while at the same time continuing to offer each of those three apartments at the same or similar rates of very, very low income thresholds. So these were previously done when in the 90s, as some of you may remember, right, the tax credit programs that allowed for this. So this is kind of the newest version of that. And so they went through the process last year, didn't make it because it's competitive, the amount of funding that's available. And so now they would like to go again. And here's the first of the two. And it's a public hearing. Yeah, so.
Oh, I understand, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Horns before I open the public hearing? All right, the public hearing is now open at 7:05. Public may speak on this item. Seeing anyone rush up, we're going to close the public hearing also at 7:05. I will entertain a motion then on item 6A unless you have other questions for Mr. Horns.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 01/2025 on first reading.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Passes unanimous. Mr. Hornis.
So the second resolution here is a requirement that states that Kerrville has twice the number of supported housing than the state per capita. And so this is, again, the same resolution that was presented and passed last year, now just adding that third apartment complex. This wouldn't be adding more
Right.
of those. This would just, it's a declaration that is required for their application.
Any questions for Mr. Hornis?
So is it a positive thing that we have twice the average, or we've got more than our share?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it. It's certainly not unique to our community. And so those opportunities were available to folks to create those in the past, and councils now and in the past have said yes to it, and so.
Well, we're just stating the fact.
You are, yes, sir. You are not adding to it, you're not detracting from it, you're acknowledging that that exists.
Question? Anybody else have a question for Mr. Hornis? All right, if hearing none, do I have a motion then on item 7A?
I'll make a motion on 7A to pass resolution number 02-2025.
For a second.
Second.
I think Jeff won that one. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And it passes unanimously. All right. Item 8A, appointment to the Food Service Advisory Board. Evidently, we appointed someone with the wrong first name. And
Oh, yes, sir, Laura instead of Rebecca.
and we want to make sure our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted, so we're going to appoint someone who actually has the name. Is it okay to then have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we reappoint this member under the name of Laura Ditmore.
Is there a second? There's a motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And it passes unanimously. All right, 8B is appointment to the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Yes, Mayor, I did get to visit with the applicant, and at this time would like to nominate Jency Carson for the Zoning Board of Adjustments.
I was also on the interview team and second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. All right, we have no need to go into executive session. Any items for future agendas? Be aware, not in the near term, but within a month or two, we're probably going to have another another agenda item on water issues. And just have that on your horizon. We will be talking about water.
And the housing is coming up.
There's a big one on housing coming up too. But there's no other business. This meeting is adjourned at 7:09.
Well done, Mayor.
Thank you.